4th, 2025 at 6:01 PM. If everyone could please stand, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right. Susan's not here, so I can go ahead and do a roll call. Hetmer?
Here.
Reardon?
Here.
Walsh?
Here.
Andrus? Here. Studzinski?
Here.
Layton?
Here.
And LaRose absent. All right. All right, moving on to the agenda. If everyone could please review for any conflict of interest, and if there's none, move forward with an approval of the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, motion made by Walsh, supported by Layton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passed to approve the agenda. Moving on to public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? All right, no public comment at this time. We'll move on to approval of the minutes from January 27th, 2025.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right, motion made by Walsh, supported by Reardon to approve the minutes from January 27th, 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passed. Correspondences, I think the only one that I saw was from a sales guy with some lighting for the racket sports. I
Yeah.
don't think there was anything else.
Oh, I thought I saw an email from somebody who wanted to be on the food
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
food incubator.
that is on the agenda.
Oh, okay, got it.
Also, she's here.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
so, okay. If there's no more correspondences, we'll move on to reports. 8A, treasurer's report. Garrison, would you mind giving us a treasurer's report?
Yeah, there's an annual report and just as of January 31st, the revenues, as Ally pointed out, that's total township revenue, not necessarily our revenue. Got a little excited for a minute on all the stuff we get done. But right now, we only have $66,255 budgeted for expenditures, and I've reached out to Beth to try to work to get a grand total amount that we need to actually budget for to go back to the township and get the rest of our money back, essentially for the big projects that we have. I think it was about $300,000 was our first ask, but we didn't have enough detail on how we were going to spend that, so they took it out of our budget until we could then come up with a better plan.
Yeah.
So actively working on that with Beth, but no update as of yet.
All right, thank you. If there's no questions on that, we can move on to reports from staff. 8B, Sam, do you got something?
Yeah, so one thing that we didn't do at the last meeting was talk about having quarterly reps for the board meetings for the year. And so we need to discuss that and hopefully have someone volunteer to do those throughout this year. And then the next one will be April, March, I believe. And so that would be before our next meeting, so we'll have to kind of figure out who's going to the March one. And then update on the 2% grant, we're still working through kind of some pricing with different entities on getting the patio installed and stuff like that, so we'll hopefully have an update for you guys next month on that with some final numbers for that. And then same thing with the garden, so I recently got an update on that, pricing wise as of like yesterday. And it's looking like that chunk is about $20,000 more than it was priced out last year. And then, so just kind of looking through that, we'll have kind of updated numbers on that at the next meeting. And then M-Parks conference is coming up, so Susan, I sent out an email to everybody kind of showing when she's going to be attending different conferences. If you guys want to collaborate to better spread out and like hit different ones and then be able to come back and do like a knowledge share, if there's ones that you want to go to, feel free. Just kind of wanted to remind you guys that that's next week. And I think that the only thing you have to sign up for is like the special sessions and the tours. I think otherwise you've already signed up for the conference as itself and you can go to the different sessions as needed. But like I signed up to go do the senior center tour. So I think they want you to sign up for stuff like that.
Okay.
And that I think is all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
Monday through Wednesday?
Monday afternoonish, I think there's some stuff in the morning, but it's kind of like pre-conference stuff, and then the opening ceremony starts at 3 or something. I don't know. I printed off the calendar and I don't remember exactly.
It's okay, I can look.
All right. Oh,
Do we want to do the quarterly report thing now before we forget about it? Is now an appropriate time for that?
Yes, is there someone who would like to volunteer to
When's the
show
board
up?
meeting?
Second Monday of the month, so it would be,
The 10th?
yes.
I'm gonna probably do the March 10th.
Do we need two for each one? Is that what we want?
I guess how have you guys done it in the past? Is it usually
I
think-
two of you?
We've done two, yeah.
Okay,
I could probably do the March 10th too.
okay, cool.
It'd probably be good to have two people in, just in case, you know.
Just in
Yeah,
case
if
somebody
someone
can't
has to
go.
back our last minute, that's a good point.
Okay.
Remind me, are we giving a report or are we just there in case they have questions?
Usually, usually there was a little kind of briefing.
Yeah, when Stephanie and I did it, Sarah
Yeah,
put together
Sarah,
like bullet
yeah.
points of our projects we were working on. We just kind of divvied up which ones to talk about between the two of us.
Yeah, I can do something like that. I'll find out what she did for the last one and do something similar.
Thank you, Sam.
Cool.
So I could do presumably the next one would be June,
Mm-hmm.
June 9th.
Okay,
Is that,
okay.
are those the correct
Yeah. are
months?
we-
Because,
And dates, yeah. Are you looking on the calendar?
Beth just messaged April, July, October.
Oh, okay.
'Cause I
I'm
thought
assuming-
you and I were in an April meeting.
I'm assuming that that's what that text is for, is,
Got it.
so.
I didn't see that. Okay, yes, how about, so if she just said, Beth just said April, then
Yeah.
is April still work for you two?
April's better for me than
Yeah,
March.
April 14th would be the second Monday.
I'm gone that time. I
Are
can't.
you on the
I can
calendar?
do the fourth, I can do April 14th.
I think I could too.
Yeah, I'm available.
I am not.
So we got 3 for April.
Okay,
Well, I said I would do July 14th.
I can still do summer, so I can do July.
okay. So then you,
Who's going in March?
It's
In
April.
April.
Who's going in April?
I'll go,
14th?
I'll go in April.
I'll go in April too.
okay, so then you don't need to go in April,
So,
If you can do July.
July.
and Ally's doing July.
Is that on the 14th?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Put it in right now. Or is it-
Yeah, it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist.
Is it at 6:30?
Yes, they have 6:30, you guys are different.
I guess I could do October 13th then would be the next one.
I could do October, yeah, as well.
Okay, perfect.
Got it.
Garrison and Stephanie in October. And then Ally and Corey in July. All right, yeah. Got that taken care of. All right, if we're done with staff, we can move on to report from the geocaching subcommittee. We just met prior to this meeting. We talked about our event on May 3rd from 1 to 3 p.m. at Grace McDonald Park. We're going to do like a geocaching 101 event. Peter and/or some other volunteers from his geocaching educational people be in attendance, put on a presentation, probably do some light snacks and refreshments. We also discussed kind of how we want to market our stuff, either in the summer newsletter, farmers market, Facebook page, and then I think,
Flyers on the little libraries.
yeah, flyers in the parks where fit. And then I guess our next May 19th subcommittee meeting will hopefully have a better idea if we want to host more events and kind of our direction.
May 3rd?
May
Yeah,
3rd
From 1 to 3.
at Grace McDonald.
Can we make an actual Facebook event for it?
Probably, I guess I've never
Well,
done that.
we have to post the event to the geocaching.
Yeah, and that, you have to do, you can only do it 90 days before, so I have a calendar reminder for myself to do it when it gets closer.
I feel like that's going to be our biggest.
Yeah, the 90-day thing is very strange, because I'm like, we already knew a month ago or whatever that we wanted to do this, and then I couldn't go in and it wouldn't let me do it. Like, it only goes out to 90 days, so.
Is there a social media platform that we can use just for the Parks Commission to, I mean, can we talk about setting something up like that? Just, seems like it'd be a lot easier to advertise.
You
I-
put stuff on Nextdoor, you and Beth do, don't you?
Beth does Nextdoor, and I do the Farmers Market Facebook page, but I don't anticipate that being something that we could do at this time right now. Once we get the communications person, that might be something to discuss. I just don't, somebody's got to manage it. And right now, the Farmers Market Facebook page is information out only, and so it's just like, we're doing the event, or this is in season, and then we turn off all of the commenting and everything, just to prevent having to manage it. So yeah, I think if we wanted, once we have that added capacity with somebody that is trained in all of that, I think that might be
I mean,
a
that's a
possibility.
full-time job.
I just know when I'm looking for like family-friendly things to do. I'm finding myself getting back on Facebook just to like look at local events of the day, and that's how I find stuff to do. So it's, if we could have
Yeah, I
something.
mean, it could just be a landing page, though, like a sort of thing, though. I don't know, we'll
Yeah.
explore it later.
I've never dug into it that deep to.
Yeah, we do have like an upcoming events and tab on the township website
Sure.
itself, and so that can be populated with information. And then anytime we do an event, I put it on the township calendar, so it populates on that. So we do have our own internal communications.
Yeah, so I guess that's the report from the geocaching subcommittee, unless you guys have anything else you'd like to add.
No.
All right. If there's nothing more on that, we can move on to business before the Parks Commission, 9A, Grace McDonald Park, the cornhole discussion. So I think we were looking to get a possible motion to move forward with Phase 1 of the Grace McDonald Park Cornhole Edition and taking that as general funds. So, which Phase 1 had 2 cornhole board setups, 2 sets, concrete, ADA sidewalks going all the way to the pickleball courts, across the tennis courts, and then to and from the pavilion and the existing ADA parking lot as well. You can see that on the drawing. And it says budget implications up to approximately 150, but I was looking at the Phase 1, and it's only 95,000.
The Phase 2, or like 6-game plan is in there as well, and that one is 142.
Yeah.
However, I was looking at it, and item number 13, it's like on the 6-game site plan, it still only lists and prices out 2 cornhole boards instead of 6,
I think they were just gonna,
and I
I
can't.
think they were just gonna be the courts, like the setup, the concrete pads, and then that would be where you bring other boards.
Oh, so it wouldn't be built
Yeah.
in like the original
Yeah.
2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm thinking to get at least something in place, like move forward with phase 1 that checks off some of our ADA accessible sidewalks and also add a new feature to the park.
And it will connect to our upgraded pavilions.
Yes.
Kind of like compound on each other, a bunch of
Yeah.
nice things all stacking.
Yeah, it just kind of reads weird when you just look at, oh, you're, spending 95,000 on a cornhole.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
It's
you-
it's
Well,
a
it's
bigger
really-
landscape.
Yeah,
It's really to make it
really-
ADA, and then we're throwing some cornhole boards for recreation.
Yeah, really, we really should call it 88 plus cornhole.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is our main priority, and also that's just kind of a gross dead space in the park anyway, so I'd like to do something with it. My only add-on would be if we could run water to this area, so we could have nice grass. Where if we were to do more cornholes, just to make
Which
that.
there's irrigation.
Is there?
On
Oh.
It's line 18, it's the last line, 8
Okay.
grand.
So, yeah, I
But-
mean, I'm fine with not doing the whole thing, but I would just want to.
I think it would be seeded, so it'd still be an open space,
People can still put
Yeah.
cornhole boards on that too.
yeah. I don't know how well it'll be leveled and, but it's already pretty level,
Maybe
so.
not tournament grade, but. I think
Yeah,
we can
it'd still be
still throw some bags.
it'd still be a green open space for
Or, yeah, we can do anything on it.
any yard game activity, so.
All right, I'll move to, propose we move forward with phase 1 of the cornhole and set aside those general fund dollars for $95,575.
Should we be that specific?
I would hesitate to do that since the estimates were done in February of last year, and so there may be additional
Yeah.
costs. I was going to get updated pricing for you when you do the budget amendment.
Are the blueprints option 1 and option 2?
It is both.
Yeah.
yes, But then option 1 would be this portion, and option 2
Right.
is adding those.
Well, this is
sets.
just adding this.
Yes.
This is
That's the
this
main
is
phase.
Excellent. Yeah, so how do we say that?
I mean, probably just put a percentage.
Up to,
I mean, maybe that's why, up to approximately.
So so we want to do that alternate deduction too? Is that because I see a total of 97,577.50. And that includes the contingencies, the 5% for increased and, so, I mean, what if we just make it around 100,000 up to 100,000? Would that work?
I think that would be good.
Yeah.
they can come back. they
Enough
can
cushion?
come back.
Yeah.
Should we just like, request that staff, like, get an updated estimate? Is that a
Well,
good
I'm
enough?
sure it's gonna be more expensive,
Yeah.
because you just said the community garden was $20,000 more than last year, so.
I mean, we're not going to know an exact number, but I mean, I feel like 100,000 would be a pretty safe bet.
It's setting enough aside that we can move forward with it.
Yeah, I mean, because they already got 5% contingency of
What number are you guys
4,242. so-
saying?
95,575.
Okay, there's a 97 and there's a 95.
So,
Because if we went with cheaper concrete, not the exposed aggregate, which is more of like a
Right.
nicer looking versus swept sidewalks, just like your average sidewalk you see anywhere.
So light room finish concrete in lieu.
It'd save us
Oh, we
two.
liked the cheaper stuff better?
Saves us $2,000. And also, is it also smoother?
I thought we liked the aggregate.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it looks like.
The aggregate, I believe, is the gray
So like, yeah,
around the cornhole board, the dark gray spots. Where it's gray. That was it just defines the, like
Okay.
your step, your
Right.
illegal
Oh,
step box.
You're right. I was thinking for all the sidewalks. You're right. It's just this dark gray area around the
Yeah.
boards. Okay. That makes more sense to me.
I mean, I think it would look a lot more professional. I mean, but,
For sure. I was just thinking the aggregate might be bumpy if we were going for ADA, but it's not for the actual sidewalks. So yes, I'm okay with going with the higher number then. But either way, we can commit 100,000 of general fund dollars to get it rolling. And then if we need to transfer from other lines in our budget to cover any contingencies that go over, we can.
all right. So there's a motion made by Reardon, but is there a support?
I'll support.
All right.
You want it?
All right. Motion was made by Reardon, supported by Hetmer, to move forward with Phase 1 of the Grace McDonald Park Cornhole Edition, utilizing the general funds as described with a dollar amount of $100,000. All in favor?
I
Any opposed? Motion passed.
should try to call it the Phase 1 ADA with cornhole. Sounds a little better.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little,
The ADA improvement project. $100,000
on cornhole.
Now it's paved.
all right. Moving on, business before the Parks Commission, 9B. Looking for a resolution of support for the community garden T-Mobile grant application.
This is just a motion to apply for the grant.
Yes.
What's the limit of the grant?
$50,000, and then we would be looking for township match at some point. with that.
50,000, yeah. But this one didn't involve the fundraising aspect that we thought would be
Does
challenging.
not involve the crowdsource match funding.
The first one we looked at involves like 25,000 crowdsource, which we thought would be tough for us to do.
And this requires a roll call vote, too.
Okay, I move to approve PKS 2025-02, a resolution of support for application to the 2025 T-Mobile Hometown Grant for East Bay Charter Township to support the construction of Phase 1 of the East Bay Township Community Grant.
1A.
What?
What?
Shouldn't it be 1A?
It just says one.
Just approve it or don't.
I'll support that. All right. All right. Motion made by Layton, supported by Andrus to move forward with the resolution PKS 2025-02 for the T-Mobile hometown grant for the East Bay Township Community Gardens. And need to do a roll call vote. So, Hetmer,
Aye.
Reardon,
Yes.
Walsh,
Aye.
Andrus, yes. Stadzinski,
Yeah. Yeah.
Layton.
Yeah.
All right. All right. There's nothing more on that. We'll move to business before the Parks Commission, 9C. Looking for another resolution of support for the Holiday Woodlands Natural Area Passport Grant application.
Are we applying for the grants?
For the Holly Woodlands, yes.
Yes.
For planning and
Trail construction?
potentially some real construction, but the engineering and getting that off the ground.
Yeah.
What's the dollar amount
Um,
and the match amount, I guess is what I really want to know.
Actually,
Yeah, we talked about
yes,
it.
yes. So we're having the public open house shortly, at the end of this month, or I guess March, not maybe next month. Yeah, it would be working through just the application for that. I don't know the dollar amount off the top of my head.
Okay. Do we know if there's a
I
match
guess it's going to
requirement?
be based on the results of that open
Yeah,
house.
basically, we're still kind of, based on the timing for it, we need you guys to have the resolution of support this month versus
Gotcha.
before the application, because we won't have a meeting before the application is due, so it's kind of awkward timing.
I believe we do have to match it, right?
Most DNR grants have something like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
25%.
I can't remember what Sarah said last month, but
Either way, I would support applying.
yeah. All right, I guess I'll go forward with making a motion to move forward with PKS 2025-03, resolution of support for application to the Michigan Department of Natural Resource 2025 Recreation Passport Grant Program for East Bay Charter Township to support the design and construction of publicly supported vision for Holiday Woodlands Natural Area.
I'll second.
All right. Motion made by Andrus, supported by Walsh, and need to do a roll call vote, so Hetmer,
Yes.
Reardon, Walsh,
Yes.
Andrus, yes, Stasinski,
Yes.
Layton,
Yes. Did you find this T-Mobile?
About a year ago, we actually applied for the Civic Plaza with it and weren't selected for that. Probably because Safe Routes hasn't been built yet. I think with our application having the farmer's market that is now open, will be a stronger application for the
Have you
community
talked
farmers.
about
That
this?
grant in particular is up to 150,000.
Maybe you weren't here. We did talk about it,
Yeah,
kind of
no,
extensive.
25 match,
There might have been when you-
25%, or 25,000?
25%.
Okay.
All right, there's no more on that. We'll move on to business before the Parks Commission, 9D, the 3 Mile Trail Trust Fund Grant. GNC in our packet, there's a map here.
We do have Elizabeth here. If you guys
Yeah.
have any questions, she is here to talk to you guys about the project.
We're just, after following a successful application, also, good evening, everyone, nice to see you again.
Yeah.
It's been a while. We had a successful application last year for the northernmost segment and the trailhead, and we had submitted 2 applications last year. We ended up, the second one was pulled in the fall based on funding, match needs not being met. So we're still figuring out right now what segment specifically, so that we have, to make sure we have match to make for a successful application. So it's relatively loose, the language, to allow us to narrow it down, but most likely we'll look at submitting for the same, the next segment that connects to the northernmost.
That's for the section from here north.
So the northernmost from the current terminus to the new trailhead is the
Okay.
one we're hoping to break ground on this fall. And then continuing from the new trailhead, that red little segment on your map,
Yeah.
to the existing trailhead at the Conservancy property. However, based on funding, that might shift to, let's say, the segment connecting to GTA, if that makes the most
If we
sense.
got more money, it would go all the way? Is that what you're saying?
If money fell from the sky, we'd definitely go all
I just
the
want to make
way.
sure we got part 1, part 2 from P2P.
Yep.
And this is undecided.
Yes, we could just switch, I would say undecided, we could just switch which our application went to based on, the most expensive segment is from
That
the
one.
new trailhead to the existing trailhead, because it's all boardwalk.
Boardwalk to the, yeah.
So if we can't come up with the match, we would switch to another segment. We just don't want to miss a funding round.
Sure.
Okay.
And then, based on the timing of Safe Routes to School, I guess looking at the south end would be the next logical spot. So, We are still, we'll just be going for the $400,000 max, same as last year, unless we were to do the Land Water Conservation Fund, but right now, going for that federal funding probably isn't a priority.
Yeah. And I take it there's no option, like a cheap option along the road between these two trailheads?
So we,
Just too many properties?
there are a lot of easements. It's also, there's a really limited right-of-way. So yes, the easements, and then you've got utilities. We are, that's something that Eagle is also asking us about. There's also wetland, so you'd also still have boardwalk segments. And just the experience of being able to utilize the Conservancy property is what makes this trail especially meaningful. And all in all, if we did look at going just along 3 Mile Road, it's not that much of a difference in length, actually, as going through the Conservancy. So just the experience of being on protected property as
Versus
opposed
walking
to
next to a busy road, sure.
on 3
I get
Mile
that.
Road. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicer, safer.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move to recommend a recreation grant application to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for funding assistance for the 3 Mile Trail project and to forward it to the East Bay Charter Township Board for final approval. Grant applications to include Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund and/or possibly the Land and Water Conservation Fund. We'll leave that in there.
Flexibility is appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll support that, so. Motion made by Walsh, supported by Andrus to move forward to recommend a recreation grant application to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for funding assistance for the 3 Mile Trail project. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you. And just,
Yeah.
as always, please don't hesitate to reach out. I think we've been talking with Beth or Claire daily, so it's, there's a lot going on. So feel free to reach out with questions anytime.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there's nothing more on that. We can move forward with business before the Parks Commission, 9E, the 2025 Food Security Incubator Action Plan. Looks like we've received an application for the Food Security Advisory Committee at-large position.
Are we skipping this?
Alice says yes. There's two things.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I-
An action
Wrong
plan and
wrong
an
page,
application.
wrong page, my apologies. Okay, so East Bay Corners Farmer Market will begin June 5th and run through October 2nd. The market's going to happen from 2 to 6 p.m. on Thursday afternoons. On January 22nd, 2025, the East Bay Township Food Security Advisory Committee recommended approval of the East Bay Corners Farmer Market 2025 Action Plan. The goals of this action plan are to increase attendance at the markets, provide educational opportunities, and facilitate a community gathering space that is inclusive. Yeah, you can see the action plan on the back side of that. So.
I'll move to,
No, that's just, that's, yeah, that's
It
just,
was just the report.
that's just,
What we voted on last one.
yeah.
Basically to start later when stuff's actually ripe and bump it up a little bit earlier for the school crowd. That's the general thing.
Yeah, and then doing a few more like specific events. So we've got kind of a planting event, a composting event, and a preservation event, as they would strategically happen throughout this season. The entities listed after those are not signed up for this. Those are just options for who could do it. So don't think that you're going to see Crosshatch here in the middle of the summer or something. It might be someone else, but.
Yeah.
Remind me, I know we were looking for a small winery to be a vendor.
If you know anybody doing under 5,000 gallons, let
I
me know.
do.
Okay, yeah, our application will open next week, so if they meet all of the minimum, or I guess maximums in that situation, they should be able to work.
Okay.
That'd be really cool.
That would be really cool.
I'm really intrigued by the last bullet point, engage local influencers. I didn't know we had any.
Local influencer?
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Some people make a living doing
Am I
that.
just like out of the loop?
I think that's more of like influencers in this realm, so like trying to get Seeds and other influential entities like that to cross-promote us as a market.
Okay, there was the whole bit.
It's an interesting word choice.
Like, you know, the word TikTok was also on this same
Yeah.
piece of paper.
We're gonna get some fashion influencers at our farmer's market.
That would be cool if there were like Traverse City-based influencers, but
I mean, during the election, we did have someone out front, like, doing some sort of, like, influencer thing about getting women out to vote, so.
Oh, interesting.
She just couldn't tell me because she had an NDA of, like, what they were actually doing. So it must have been somebody important.
okay.
I just have more questions now.
I had so many questions. None of them were able to be answered. She had an NDA.
They were the same questions, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it looks good. I don't know if
Yeah,
they-
there's some great ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, if there's nothing more on that, we can move to business before the Parks Commission, 9F, the Food Security Advisory Committee appointment application, which I tried jumping forward to that, but I was corrected. So I believe there's 2 openings. I believe the way I understand this is we got one, which is Brooke, which Brooke's here with us tonight. So, and then I guess looking for a possible motion to move forward to appoint Brooke Jude to the Food Security Advisory Committee as an at-large member. So you could also see there's attachments in here with some of Brooke's previous experience and whatnot, so.
Hey, Brooke, did you want a chance to speak?
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, like, if you want to say anything.
Oh. Maybe just give a,
What makes you passionate about food security? Thank you so much for
It's all
volunteering.
right there.
It's all in her very detailed
yeah,
letter.
yeah,
Well written.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
I want to
read,
make sure you have the opportunity.
yeah, yeah. Do you have any questions for us, or? Okay. Sure, okay. Well,
And with that said,
yeah,
I'll move to approve the appointee of Brooke Jude, is it Jude? Jude. Okay. To the Food Security Advisory Committee as an at-large member.
I will support that motion.
all right. Motion made by Walsh, supported by Hetmer, to move forward with the appointment of Brooke Jude to the Food Security Advisory Committee as an at-large member. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passed.
Thank you.
Congrats, Brooke.
Thank you.
All right, there's no more on that. We can move forward to business before the Parks Commission, 9G, the Jens Park project closeout, which in your packet you can see an example swing and also some landscaping stuff that should be done for poison ivy and just cleaning up the rest of the park. Looks like there's budget implication up to $5,000, and then we're looking for a motion to move forward with these.
That includes the landscaping? That's not just a swing, right?
Yeah, I believe that includes everything here.
Someone who's very allergic to poison ivy. Very
Was
supportive of that.
Was there a quote for the swing, or is that just a,
I believe that that's just like a typical swing idea. I think we'd keep it
I'm only asking because I kind of have a gut feeling that it's going to be more.
Right, with shipping,
And, you know, you got to have it cemented in and
Yeah, does that involve like
then, you know,
installation?
commercial stuff just is expensive in general. Like a trash can could be like $1,500, you know, so
East of the second pad, it's like essentially up against that pine tree line.
It's kind of, I believe
Where the
this was
poison ivy is.
where some trees came down and it was cleared in a way that wasn't anticipated, but created an opportunity to potentially put in a swing there, is kind of how it went kind of happening. So
okay.
that we planted some trees to replace those trees that were taken out, and then this is kind of a closeout of that, trying to figure out what to do with that leftover area.
And then is the poison ivy like back kind of like in the wooded area?
And I
Like-
think it just creeps out.
Yeah,
It's like that whole,
that's a,
that whole right pine line into the
Never
woods.
noticed it.
Oh, yeah,
it's there.
it's
It's,
definitely there.
I believe you guys. Man, I should be more observant.
Stay far away.
yeah, I can't remember. We talked a little bit, I think Beth talked about it last month's meeting a little bit. Brought it up, I can't recall, but I feel like the poison ivy and a little bit of landscaping can't be that much, and then
Well, what-
not in the market for swings, but
5,000 numbers.
accurate, yeah,
5,000 number what?
It's reasonable.
for the swing,
So it should be able to hold the project off.
yeah.
I was worried about not approving enough money for that. But I think $5,000 probably would cover it now, so.
I believe,
Just the cost of things.
you just wanted to make sure the swing wasn't
Like a
$8,000.
picnic table, I used to buy picnic tables and they were like $1,200 a piece. And it's just, you know, I'm looking at this, I'm like, that could be fairly expensive. But it's not, it's reasonable.
I do have something to say, but it just left my brain. Budget, did we have 5,000 in Jen's? Where's the 5,000 coming from?
Well, we have a bunch of money that's not in the budget because we haven't given them a detailed plan. We could
Because we
get
haven't given a
5,000
detailed
when we
plan.
ask for it,
Right.
yeah. Also, this expenditure one doesn't have all the lines listed. Like Grace McDonald doesn't even have a line listed in this one. Now that it's Jen's, so hard to tell from this report. But again, if we have a plan, then we can request the 5,000 and put it in the line. I wish we had some more info about where exactly it was going, but either way,
I
I think it's a
think,
good idea.
Are we?
I believe it was on the east side, just outside the grilling and picnic area.
I know, but Santa's
Well,
where the trees got taken out.
Clearing adjacent to the east picnic pad.
It
And that's also.
it
Is-
is on that eastern side,
Yeah.
yes.
Install swing and clearing adjacent to the east of the picnic pad. So there's the two picnic pads, then there was a
And it's
clearing,
there.
Sure.
and then there was the old pine spruce trees like
Oh,
planted
towards the
out.
hotel then.
Yeah.
Right next to Point
Yeah.
North, yeah.
Yeah.
Where the poison ivy is. I remember talking about the poison ivy earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will.
Well, maybe that's why we're going to remove the poison ivy before we put the swing down.
Are we allowed to, or is it feasible for us to like, are we gonna hire someone who's like not gonna go around with like a chemical like 5 feet away from the lake to remove the poison ivy?
Well, that's what I said,
Well,
smother.
It
To
says
remove or smother.
I think they would probably put like tarps or something over it for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
That's how I've done it at my house.
Well, I
Just
mean,
old
they-
carpet.
they-
Sure.
I don't think we would,
They're gonna spray
Organizations
by
out
the
there
lake
that
if
do
they get
that.
caught.
Yeah, I
We would
don't-
have to get a
Yeah,
permit.
that
Yeah.
would
whole
be,
thing.
that would be someone else, that would be Eagles jurisdiction. more than
Right.
It would be ours. and
They just
we
go
would-
like, choo, choo.
I think that's a good caveat to add to the motion then.
I just want to make sure, I mean, I know that, like, we're mindful of that, but fun fact, poison ivy is a native species to our area, even though it
We
is
fight it.
painful.
well, it's not the last time we're gonna deal with poison ivy.
Right.
There, even though whatever we do, it's gonna come back, so.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so this could just be just a every couple year maintenance item to kind of keep it controlled in the woods where no one's going to be, so.
I would have moved to approve the improvements to Gen Parks with the caveat that chemical spray will not be used close to the water line in the removal of poison ivy.
I'll support that. All right. Motion made by Reardon, supported by Andrus, to move to approve the improvements to Jens Park as described, and presented and discussed, and noted that no chemicals will be used to eliminate the poison ivy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passed. All right, if there's no more on that, we can move to business before the Parks Commission, 9H, the budget amendment for Grace McDonald warming hut improvements. So we got the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians 2% award for this project. Looks like we have budget implications. Yes, Garrison would,
Yeah,
Be able to-
that's about this one. Essentially, part of our detailed budget that we'll put forward, we'll just increase the Grace McDonald improvements to 75,000 total, including that grant amount, and then we have a contingency line. We'll take the money out of there, 60,000 out of there, and then the 15,000 grant comes to the grand total of $75,000 for the project.
yeah, and then this is for the improvements to the warming hut, heaters, gas fire pit, and pad, canvas, lining.
We don't have a breakdown of those cost estimates, though. I was curious how it got to 75,000.
That was our estimate when we were applying for the grant. We're
Okay.
fine tuning those now, working with specific contractors
Yeah.
to get like exact numbers. So those were kind of our rough estimates for the different improvements.
Which we should have an update in the.
Yeah, next month,
Right,
hopefully.
so. Yes, I'll move forward.
Do I need to make the motion?
If you.
I move to recommend a budget amendment based on the award of $14,900 from the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians and a township contribution of $61,000 for a total project cost of $75,000 to construct the community warming hut at Grace McDonald Park to East Bay Township Board of Trustees for adoption.
Second.
It's not really a hut, it's more like
Yeah.
pavilion winterization.
Pavilion Plus.
I'm gonna
Pavilion
start calling you
improvements.
when I need to name stuff. I sometimes need help with that.
Well, it's been
Gotta put Corey on speed dial.
yeah, it's been the hut forever.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
The
there's a,
hut/Taj Mahal.
there's a motion made by Reardon, supported by Walsh, I believe. And the motion was to move forward with the recommended budget amendment based on the award of $14,900 from the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians and a township contribution of $61,000 for a total project cost of $75,000 to construct the community warming hut at Grace McDonald Park to the East Bay Township Board of Trustees for adoption. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Well, if there's no more on that, we can move on to public comment. Brooke still has nothing, so she's our only public left.
You have to comment.
Back to you, Brooke.
Yeah. But,
Just a bit, there you go.
our upcoming meeting date is March 17th, 2024. Is there any issues with that date?
That is the date of the open house, by the way. It will happen 4 to 6 prior to the meeting, tentatively at this point, but.
On
that
the
is where-
17th?
Yes.
On
for-
St. Patrick's Day?
For Holiday Woodlands Natural Area Public Open House.
Which will be here?
Yes, at the Township Hall.
Okay.
4 to 6.
I know I sit on that little committee, but, I mean, is that something that we want the entire Parks Commission to be present for, or?
Oh, I don't know if you all need to, I mean, you'll
If
get
you can
the-
make it.
You will
cool.
get the information at some point
Yeah.
given to you. But yeah, if you wanted to try and stop by, that would be great to have you guys, some of you there to talk with people and get feedback.
All right. Well, I guess I would like to adjourn the meeting if there's nothing else. I'd like to adjourn the meeting Monday, February 24th, 2025 at, what is it, 6:50 PM.